All right, we got Nick Rekieta and Eric Hunley here. I call well, Nick is the Pope of LawTube, so I have decided Eric is the Sally Jesse Raphael of LawTube, all things drama, and I can say that because I wear bright blue glasses and she had red glasses, and so I feel like if anyone's able to knight somebody, Sally Jesse Raphael, it's me. All right, so Nick is hot off the band tube, and we were just discussing before we went live. We don't know if he's a banned person or a banned channel, so we're not sure if this video will stay up. But we're pretty sure he's not a banned person. But either way, Eric and I are willing to still associate with you. So,
oh, thank you. I feel less like a dirty, disgusting leper now.
Well, there's no way you're more dirty or disgusting than a new mom. I told Eric I haven't brushed my hair in probably 4 days. That somebody said in my last video, like they like my hair piece, so it's starting to look so bad that people think that this is fake hair, and I just like piece it on when I go live. Nick, what happened to you? What's going on, man?
Let's see. How much where do we want to go? I have been removed from YouTube. My channel has been deleted. I think maybe temporarily, but I have no idea. I'm like trying to be optimistic about it. But YouTube has decided that I received 3 strikes, and the 3rd strike was a charm, obviously, within a 90-day period. And that seems to be the case. My first strike was bogus. My second strike was based on a lie, and so was the 3rd. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't think I actually violated YouTube's terms of service on any of them. And if I can get any of them reversed, it would undo presumably undo what's been done. But yeah, long and short, I'm banned. Bad man.
Okay, so I mean, for those people who somehow don't know who you are, how significant your channel is. I mean, you do these epic like 6-hour, 5-hour live streams at night, like when, I mean, and you have a lot of people watching when I'm sleeping, and I'm shocked that you're up. And so you brought in a ton of money to YouTube, like. Mm-hmm. From the business side of things, it seems very odd that they would ban you. I think that's my first question. Because you're very popular, and YouTube seems like it's been coming after certain channels. You say, wow, I guess that sort of debunks my theory that they only go after the little guys. I guess what kind of communication have you had from them about like the reasoning behind all of this?
Oh, on your 3rd strike, they don't tell you anything. They don't even tell you what video or what thing. The best guess I have is actually based on people who have reported me and then like gloated about it on Twitter because they tell them apparently. So I think it's related to my live stream from October 4th, in which I'll tell you exactly what I did because I'm a vindictive monster.
Is this the clip? This was on Twitter. Is this the clip?
I don't know.
You want me to play it? It's where you say you're going to post the ethics complaints with the names of the guys that filed them against you.
That could be it. I genuinely don't know if that's it. I didn't do anything on YouTube's platform that is against their terms of service. And in fact, I've never actually posted the things at all. And importantly, posting those things is not only not illegal, it's entirely protected speech, and those addresses and names were given to me voluntarily by people who are trying to use a lie to destroy my career. So my perspective is kind of like, you know what, F you. But I haven't actually done it, and even if I did, it wouldn't have been on YouTube anyway.
Okay, so my husband sent me, this was in that thread. This is, I guess, part of what you get in response if you file an ethics complaint. And it says, like, we're sending a copy to the lawyer, even if we don't investigate. So if you don't want that information out there, don't put it in. Like, it will be subject to public records request. So you shouldn't. So I can see your point. On the other hand, so we saw this as a term of service. Do you think it would possibly be under the term of service for like inciting bullying? Would they interpret it that way? I mean, even if you're not posting it on YouTube, I mean, because YouTube can interpret anything the way they want, really, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't necessarily follow consistent policy.
Yeah, I mean, they can do whatever they want. I have no idea if that violates their policy or anything. I've the idea that here's how I'll word this. Oftentimes people will redact an address from YouTube, even from a completely public document that can be posted anywhere else with an address fully exposed. That does not violate YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah, that's that note, I think, on the first part here, where it says this doesn't include posting widely available public information. Public information can include officials' office phone number or the phone number of a business. Is that what you're talking about in there in terms of?
I mean, just like, for example, I read lawsuits, and sometimes they're like third parties and stuff that are in lawsuits, and they'll have an address. So like you can censor out the address, and then you could post the entire document anywhere else in the world, and that's not a violation of YouTube's terms of service. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. I know that the question, there was a controversy that came up like internally about when you, can we just, I guess we could play that clip. I don't know whether we want to.
You may not want to.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting point. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe, I guess I mean, to sum it, you're basically saying, okay, I'm going to redact these, but the names will still be on there, and F you, because you tried to affect my career.
Yeah. And I'm not so sure how that is. I mean, I can get how YouTube can interpret things however they want, and maybe they did. I don't know. But the interesting thing is, if we're going to say that people can, with impunity, try to ruin your life, and you can't say anything about them, or that's bullying, then that's bullshit.
I agree. YouTube's extremely capricious, and I can also relate only to the degree of Nick, where you have nothing. When my channel got nuked, I couldn't click on anything. There was nothing there. It's like you are literally memory hold and out of existence. So it's not like you can go click your creator icon or do anything else. You just flat out don't exist, and it's really disturbing.
I'm just still, I guess number one, I'm really shocked that somehow I'm on YouTube and you're not, because I always thought I was going to end up banned way ahead of people, for like medical misinformation, which is what I constantly get my strikes for, interviewing doctors, which is its own interesting phenomenon. And actually, Nick, I got some questions on locals for you. One person was asking about that. Do you think there's a difference? Well, I'll just read it directly. We did this. What did YouTube argue was the reason for the strike? What were the previous two strikes where it did that? But if it was for threatening and doxing, does he think there's a difference between YouTubers who get a strike for medical misinformation and YouTubers getting a strike for allegedly threatening and doxing people? Or is it all the same mumbo jumbo?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think what happens is that in some cases, you've got what's happened to me, which is a bunch of people have been flagging my YouTube, my Twitter, and trying to get me disbarred. And all of that is over a disagreement over this person who, according to them, using their own words, people keep denying that this person is doing. They're like, no, they're not doing that. And I'm like, it's their tweets. It's their words. They say that they were providing hormone replacement therapy to minors without their parents' knowledge or consent, which would automatically entail that there is no doctor involved as well. And they were sponsoring a webpage that specifically promoted do-it-yourself estrogen replacement therapy to minors. Again, the minors that they would contact through Discord, outside of any medical advice, outside of any of the structures that we're talking about here, with no parental consent. These people are talking to children, these are adults, about their gender, and then determining without any medical licensure or medical training at all that they need hormone replacement therapy, and facilitating the acquisition of that for these kids. I think that's reprehensible. I think it's probably illegal.
I was going to say illegal. Yeah.
And it's absolutely horrifying that this is going on, and that they're proudly boasting about it. I expressed my opinion that that type of person does not belong in society. Now, that was taken as they should be murdered, which is not ever what I said. I do not advocate political violence. Anybody who's watched my channel for any number of time will find me specifically unadvocating political violence. I don't like riots. I don't like protests because they can turn into political violence. I don't like assassinations. I'm not even pro death penalty anymore. And that's been since before I was on YouTube. And that take is controversial for people. But when you have people just lie about what you say, and then you have someone uncritically accept that lie, stuff can happen to you.
Okay, just so everybody knows before you head out, you are on Rumble now. That's going to be your new mainstay, and so people can find you there. You were already on Rumble, though, so that's not necessarily anything new. Are you going to be doing business differently over there versus what you were doing? Were you always co-streaming on Rumble?
I mean, I co-streamed to Rumble and ODYSEE from when I would stream to YouTube. Now that's just truncated down to Rumble and ODYSEE. Obviously, no YouTube is involved. I'm really trying to incorporate my locals community into live streams. And so now if you are a local subscriber, there's a dedicated live chat for every live stream that is the locals community, where people can interact with, other people that they interact with on locals on my page. And so that's like got its own like subculture there. But what I do on YouTube and what I do on Rumble, like that's not going to change. Same type of show, nighttime shows where we discuss fun things or crazy things or whatever and have a good time. Daytime shows when necessary, like with the Waukesha parade killer Daryl Brooks. His trial's going on right now. Opening arguments were today. That's what I'll be covering tonight. I had some other obligations this morning. I was on Crowder, and then I had to teach at our homeschool co-op. So,
well, you're in good company, at least. Well, so Nick, let me ask you this, because I've been getting a lot of questions from people about high-profile folks getting censored by YouTube and then announcing they're going to Rumble. And so people are wondering, like, is this a coincidence? This is all happening kind of at the same time, or is there some kind of advertising connection here? So can you answer that question? Did you make any special agreement with Rumble to promote you before the latest issue with YouTube? And what do you think? I mean, because you're not the only one who's been like dealing with these issues and saying, I'm going to Rumble. And maybe you don't have inside knowledge on it all, but just curious if you could answer that question and if you have any other thoughts on that.
I do not currently have a special deal with Rumble or any other platform. I have received some very, very nice offers of assistance and support from different platforms. Several platforms have come out in support of me. We'll say that. And then some platforms have actually made some offers for like, hey, come over here and do this thing. I have not chosen to do any of those at this time. As for why like this is all happening at the same time, I mean, I think a month from now, something pretty important is about to happen. And
which you probably can't talk about on YouTube anyway, which is one question I had. Are you going to cut loose a little bit more on Rumble and ODYSEE now that you don't have to temper things down on YouTube first? Is that going to affect the content?
I think it, not dramatically, but people may notice like I'll be a little more flippant with language, a little less concerned about one of the things that's really nice about Rumble and ODYSEE is they don't respond in the same way to the DMCA type stuff that YouTube does. YouTube has a very quick system for efficiently punishing you for fair use and making you prove that you did the right thing. Rumble and ODYSEE don't have that same system because they don't have like content ID and stuff baked in where bots can just do everything for you. So it'll be a little bit easier to share videos and talk about stuff, as part of the show. But generally speaking, the content won't be much different at all. Cut loose. I mean, I guess
say full words that like start with an I. The actual word.
Wait.
Oh, wait a minute. I see the pasty one. Yeah, and I mean, I'll be free to talk about other stuff a little more, I guess, but most of my views and expertise didn't really run afoul of the terms of service on YouTube because, like, I'm not a doctor and I don't have any medical training, and so I have opinions about some of that stuff, but I could never say like this will do X, and so I didn't. That was never a big risk for me. Although my warning strike that I have on my channel, or whatever, was actually was related to that, was related to the big C-19, because I had the audacity to agree with President Joe Biden during one of his speeches in his live stream. But the CDC hadn't updated to reflect Joe's opinions yet. And so therefore I got struck on that one. I was like, hey, I actually agree with Mr. Biden on this. This is a good move. And then they're like, nope, medical misinformation. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, that's
funny.
I'm listening to the authority and I'm with them. Like I'm in their corner. Didn't work.
Hey, Nick. So we kind of talked about this, like, because this person, Scuba Jim, was asking about whether this was a concerted effort to get rid of you. I mean, it sounds like.
Yeah, that absolutely is. Yes.
Yeah. So since I talk a lot about like the media, having been a TV reporter, has the corporate press had any part in this, or has this all just been kind of in the alternative media sphere? Because I mean, I think a lot of people get canceled because like somebody like Taylor Lorenz comes after them. Yeah. Did that play any role in either what people like the court of public opinion thinks about you, and then that pressures YouTube, or was this all just pressure coming from other areas? And do you think like the bar comes to YouTube and says, "Hey, you should know about this guy. He's doing this kind of stuff"? And who is going direct with them?
No, I think so. Importantly, in Minnesota, we do not have a state bar. We have a state bar association. It is a professional association. It has nothing to do with licensure. And I'm not a member of the state bar. So people like will tag them on Twitter and I just kind of laugh. We have a lawyer's professional responsibility office that is administered by the Supreme Court of Minnesota. And so all licensure stuff is a state action. So I'd be very surprised if they decided to try and inject state action into the zeitgeist of YouTube from this level. I believe that like the FBI will drop hints. We heard from Mark Zuckerberg about how they did that with Facebook. Like, oh, you got to watch out. There could be some crazy stories about a laptop or a diary or whatever like that. We know that happened. But I don't think it comes down to this level for like someone like me. Like that's a little ridiculous. So I don't think that the professional responsibility office had anything to do with it. As for the press people, I know I've called Cat 10 Barge fat a lot, so that could have something to do with it. Taylor Lorenz does not like me, I guess, because I probably called her fat too. No, wait, I think I posted a joke picture of her once that someone made where she was like an escort or something. But it was done in humor. Look, Taylor. Just what's the price? Have a sense of humor, but no, it was beaten out of her by life, I guess. But no, I don't think so. I haven't seen any like specific hit pieces. What I do know is there was a massive Twitter campaign of tagging Team YouTube. And as anybody who's dealt with YouTube knows, that tagging Team YouTube is actually extremely effective for various things. Whether it was effective for this thing, I don't know. Because I know the general reporting mechanism was used as well. Now, my appeal of all this is ongoing because it is very clearly an organized campaign. And I'm not sure if people realize this, but to organize from one YouTube creator to another for deplatforming is actually that it's against terms of service as well. It's kind of like, I analogize it this way. It's kind of like if you rent a store next to another store in a strip mall, you have provisions in your contract where you cannot interfere with that other company's business because that other company also pays the landlord, and the landlord doesn't want you messing with someone else and interfering with their rent. YouTube has a similar thing. It's not an okay thing to organize this stuff. So part of our appeal is based on the fact and the obvious evidence of this mass flagging campaign. Thankfully, they sent me 45 more examples of it via ethics complaints to show just how just how dedicated and organized this flagging thing was. And it was done, frankly, by a fellow YouTuber who did it. So I don't know. There's some inroads into fighting this, but it's I don't know if it goes into mainstream media or not. I know the mainstream media is always hesitant to mention me because even when they're covering like Depp and Heard and stuff, they know that when they do, someone might tune into my channel and hear a dick joke, and that would make them really uncomfortable.
Were you surprised? Did you see this coming?
Oh no, I've been talking about it for months. That I'm on borrowed time on YouTube was absolutely like real. Was I surprised in the moment? Yes. I mean, absolutely.
Because you were like in the middle of a stream, right? I think I saw you say that you were streaming and Eric
middle
knows
of a
what
live
that's like.
stream. Yeah, and suddenly everything is gone, and then you get an email, and you're like, and so the funny thing, of course, now like I really looked stupid when it happened because my stream was still going on Rumble and Odyssey. But you don't think about like that. My brain didn't function that way. It was like, okay, my stream is over, and I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm looking at my phone like, oh my gosh.
And so you're getting texts coming in from different people saying, "Hey, what happened? Did it go down?" And you're it's just
10,000 very helpful, lovely people all tell you, "Hey, bro, your YouTube channel's deleted." It's like, I'm aware.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, I know it's all done like in good faith and stuff, but it was just like getting just tons of messages. I know. I don't know why. I have no information, but yeah. So I hope to be on YouTube longer, for sure. It's a good game, and I got to play it pretty well. But I did always think that I have opinions that are unpopular, and I have fun, and people don't like that.
I guess final question, really, promise,
Sure.
is so you still have hope that you might get your channel restored? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have several people are actually working on that. I have a YouTube partner manager. I still have a YouTube partner manager, by the way. They don't just take that away. Eventually they will if things aren't restored. But so I still have that person who is helping me out. And I also have a multi-channel network that I had recently joined for the very purpose of fighting these bogus strikes. And they have levied some appeals. I'm hoping to make some headway in any direction I can. Plus, several other YouTubers have reached out to their partner managers to ask them if there's anything that they can do and offer support. So it's been really cool.
So, like, if people want to help in that effort, what should they do?
Team YouTube. Keep them up all day, all night. Team YouTube.
Or if you know, like I won't even say the joke. I just wanted to make a kidnapping joke, but like you can't. No, like if you know a YouTube executive's cat or whatever, like just pick up muffins and send it to me. And then I can make a video and post it on Rumble. I'll be like, "You're never getting muffins back, you bastard." No,
I would say Susan Wojcicki is a cat lady, but I don't want to defame cats because I know Eric has a couple.
Thank you.
But no, tagging Team YouTube on Twitter, I guess, is the way. The real, like, the massive support people have shown by showing up and signing up for my locals has been amazing. And I do a ton of content on locals in addition to the YouTube stuff that I do. And so I hope to entertain a whole lot of people in a different place than they're used to with that locals community as well. So that's wonderful. But yeah, as far as like helping out with the thing, just tagging Team YouTube on Twitter and saying, "Hey, this is bogus. Like this is insane." That's the best way. But right now, I guess we have to just kind of wait through the appeals process. And as I find out anything, people will know. I'm in a holding pattern at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And if they want to support you, they should is Rumble or locals. Where do you recommend? And like how significant, I guess, is this for the work you do. You're a practicing attorney still, right? So
I mean, not really.
Not really.
Like, I mean, I'm a practicing attorney in that I maintain my license and I could take a case at any time. But this is what I do. YouTube is what I do, or I guess content creation is what I do. So like supporting me on locals is fantastic, but I want people to know something very, very important. I will be just fine. And I would never ask anybody to put themselves in any sort of financial detriment for the sake of like preserving some YouTuber, right? Like I am so good and everything is wonderful. And the best support people can have is just being like, hey, I'm with you. If you want to support on locals, great. But do not ever put yourself in financial difficulty on my behalf. I'm going to be just fine no matter what. So I think a lot of times people can get really like I've seen people get really beggy and stuff like that. I never ever want to suggest to people like if you don't help me out, I'm not going to be able to do it. Like no, I make content because it's fun. That's not going to change. And I'll be making content on Rumble and Odyssey. If I never get my YouTube channel back, the biggest loss will be 5 years of work making a thing. Everything else can be replaced, like income and whatever. Like that's all ancillary, and it'll be great.
They could send you booze.
You could do that if you're rude. Like, look, I'm not turning it down.
Hey, I have a great idea. Why doesn't everyone go send Nick some AllisonWinePromo.com? All right.
This is the grift. No, you're doing it properly. Nick will appreciate it.
Hey, it's synchronicity, man. Somebody says send him some top shelf booze. It just so happens I know top shelf booze. I don't know. Are you a wine drinker? You seem more like a Scotch bourbon guy.
I like wine quite a bit too. So
all right, you heard it here first, people.
Yeah.
Nick's sad. He really needs a nice Malbec from Argentina.
I'm sad. My
Buy
life
some
is
for
under
yourself
attack.
too. Buy some for yourself and some for Nick, so that way you can celebrate together in spirit.
Yeah, and then you know what? You could FOIA the people who put in the ethics complaints against them and send them some wine too. Just let's all just
not recommended
together.
Not recommended at
and
all.
And screw. Isn't
don't
that
do
what
it,
the song?
Don't do it on YouTube.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett. Let's all just get drunk and screw.
Yeah, isn't that the song?
Yeah. No, I also want to just let people know that the other reason I'll be okay is because I do have 5 children and I can just eat them one at a time when I run out of money. That's why you make these things.
Yeah. But you got to feed them for a while because like the one I have behind me right now would not get you through much.
No.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of meat on that guy. He would definitely be like half a turducken. So not you got to invest in them just a little bit, in which case it's kind of like, you know, your own garden. You're like, no, I'm going to totally save money because I'm going to grow my own garden. And then you spend $200 on seeds and, you know, all this other stuff. And they're like, you could have just bought a $1 tomato, but why when you can spend $500 on your own garden? Anyway, Nick, thanks for taking the time to join us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and we'll see you guys around.
All right, Nick.
All right, definitely. And Eric, stick around. Please. Bye, Nick.
Please.
Yeah. All right, so Eric, I know you got to go for your stream, so everybody should go over to Eric's channel. What are you about to talk about?
The poker cheating scandal. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I did a show on it earlier. There's an Instagram model, and she won a hand that she never should have bet on. So people are saying you would only bet on that hand if you were cheating. And there's a big, huge controversy. So earlier I had a poker person on, released a video talking about it. But then tonight I have Spidey on of the behavioral arts. And he's a wonderful source because not only does he know poker, he's a mentalist and a magician. And his whole life is cheating, especially with cards, because technically that's what magicians do, is they know what card you have and how to force cards, everything else. So we're going to be discussing whether she did not do it with the body language and things like that, which she does, but also he's going to give a session on cheating and kind of how to, what to look for, and probably cheat with us on the show too. So it'll be a fun show.
Nice. Okay. So the reason that you were coming on, and thank you for being patient as we got Nick to explain all that, is because you have these legal streams on a regular basis. You're really plugged into the LawTube community. And, you know, I had somebody text me earlier, like, if YouTube keeps doing this, all these lawyers are going to have to go back to milking their clients again, you know, and they're not going to just make all this money on YouTube. So do you think Nick's case is just about Nick, or does it have are there any sort of macro level lessons to learn about how this affects YouTube? Because I guess, like, on one hand, you could see very specifically a campaign against him, but on the other hand, the whole idea of somebody just being able to target you and come after you, I mean, that could be any person on YouTube. And we have seen this with other ones like Nate, right? You've been talking about Nate and Chris Boozy, and it just, I don't know. I'm just curious what you think. Is this just a one-time deal that is
it's a war,
Nick, or not?
There's an entire war. Now, Nick had his own conflict with the person. I don't even know if we should name him because that's kind of giving publicity. But with a trans activist who has a YouTube channel, he had a history, and there's, you know, a battle there. But I will say that Christopher Boozy is taking credit for Nick getting thrown off, which all of us are saying is pretty much BS, but Chris Boozy likes to take credit. Taylor Lorenz is jumping in. So this all almost goes back to really Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, which is a weird situation, but most of LawTube kind of jumped in. And by that, I'd say, I don't know of anyone in LawTube who was an Amber Heard supporter. And even that, LawTube itself is not like an organized thing. LawTube are a bunch of lawyers who are on YouTube who kind of, oh, you're a lawyer, and they all sort of hung out, and I just know a bunch of them. It's a weird, loose affiliation, and somebody just gave it a name. But there is definitely a conflict there. Christopher Boozy's at the forefront, Taylor Lorenz, others, and it stemmed out of Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, because they were all kind of leaning towards Johnny Depp, pro Johnny Depp, if you will, and they've been attacked by the community who's very much the Amber Heard stands, if you will. You're muted.
Okay. It does seem very weird that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is like where this all, but on the other hand, I think some people may not realize that was, I mean, it was a significant moneymaker for a lot of people. It also put a lot of people on the map when it comes to LawTube and mainstream media, right? Because there were these pieces written about, you know, LawTube having the support for Johnny Depp and how, you know, you're going to be turned into an extremist or something if you tune into them.
And movement.
It's just so weird. Political. Yeah.
The whole Me Too was hanging on Amber Heard in some ways, because remember, ACLU was paying her. It was her article. They helped her write the Washington Post piece. So there's more going on than just that. You also can add in Taylor Lorenz and the Washington Post. Taylor Lorenz also went after Ariadna Jacob, who's a TikToker. So some of this too is old media or establishment media going after YouTubers because, like you said, money. There's a lot of money, and a lot of YouTubers made a whole lot of money. I wish I got a bit of it myself, but I didn't. Eventually, I hope to get there. But think about it. They're a very real threat. Nick himself, going back to Rittenhouse, so some of this might have been even buzzing ahead of time. Nick had more people watching him with Rittenhouse than, I believe, Law and Crime, PBS, and Fox News, like all combined. So one independent YouTuber was literally bigger than all their audiences. And people are saying that it all started there. I think that the rumbling started there, but the war really started with the Amber Heard when it became a LawTube thing.
Yeah. Didn't he do Alex Jones commentary? Cam saying not one person did live commentary for Alex Jones trial, still holding out for a hero.
Viva Fry did. Viva Fry did commentary with Robert Barnes.
Isn't there a new one? The most recent one?
Well, the kinetic trial. I don't think anybody has just sat there doing it all day, but I just don't think the demand has really been there.
Yeah, that could be it. Well, before you go, you were kind of talking about the threat that is LawTube. I can't really think of another. I can't think of another category of YouTubers that has the same kind of traction or what would the influence, I guess, to give people new ideas about like the legal world or the election world, you know, stuff like that, that would challenge what you're getting from corporate news, for instance. I can't think of another category. I mean, I do a lot of doctors, for instance, but there's no like med tube. You know what I mean?
No, but they're the nerds. Don't count out. And I don't know if the nerd is the right term, but people who are very into pop culture. There are some really strong affiliations of pop culture that are also affecting the narrative with like Popcorn Planet, Star Wars Girl. The Quartering is in that mix.
Right. Okay.
And I think that pop culture should never be ignored. You know, to quote Andrew Breitbart, politics is downstream of culture.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anything you want to add before you go?
No, I'm just happy to be here.
Pump your sponsor or anything. Eric has a sponsor now.
I got another sponsor, but anyway, yeah.
Oh, good. Who?
Got it too. The food stuff, fresh. I forgot the name. I'll get it down. I mean,
Eric's sponsor. He loves them so much he can't remember who they are.
Well,
but...
I need to get it in line so I can properly represent. I don't know why I keep getting FreshBooks stuck in my head, and that's not the sponsor. It's the HelloFresh. There it is.
HelloFresh. Okay.
HelloFresh. Yes.
Good for you. Yeah, HelloFresh.
Thank you. Can you pitch it for me?
Well, everybody go check out HelloFresh. It goes great with a glass of Malbec from Argentina. Again, at AllisonWinePromo.com. And also, if you're, you get 50% off the wine and 50% off shipping. But if you like coffee, go get 10% off your first order at TwinEngineCoffee.com/Allison. These are high altitude, organic roast from Nicaragua, light roast, dark roast. And I always say there's a Caturra tea. If you're a tea drinker, you can check that out. Eric, thanks for doing that. If anyone wants to go hear what Eric was talking about earlier, Eric does all kinds of, if you're new to Eric's stuff, he does a lot of human behavior stuff. And you've been killing it, Eric. So he's going to go live at 5:30 Eastern, which is in 15 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
so everybody go head over to Eric's channel and also watch us on Laid Back News Wednesday nights. If you are interested in we do like pop culture news analysis, that kind of stuff on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I think that's all I got, right, Eric? And I think the producer's saying wrap, so it's probably time to go.
And that's a wrap.
All right, bye.